Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Do you like detective stories? Do you like figuring things out? Do you like mystery? Well, if you do, then you might be interested in James Lee Burke's The Neon Rain. While I was searching online for the reigning champions in their respective genres, one name kept popping up. James Lee Burke is the master of storytelling when it comes to the detective, nostalgic, noir genre. I had no idea there was such a thing, but apparently is, and apparently he is the king of that genre. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is The Neon Rain about? Well, let me tell you. The Neon Rain starts with following Detective Dave Robicheaux when he goes to a state penitentiary to visit a man that is on death row. A man he's actually put in the penitentiary, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, if a detective put me on death row, I certainly wouldn't want to see the guy again. Even if I did the crime, I wouldn't want to ever see that guy again in my life. But here you have the detective Dave Robicheaux coming to visit the man that he has placed on death row. It gets even more interesting. The man tells Dave, hey Dave, you know that dead body you found a few weeks back when you were fishing in the bayou just outside of New Orleans? Well, guess what? You've been asking too many questions about this woman, and the streets have now put a hit out on your head. We get a little flashback of Dave fishing in the bayou, and he comes across a dead woman. He calls the local authority because where he's at, it's actually out of his jurisdiction as a detective. So the local police come down, they look at the dead body, and a little too fast for Dave's liking, they decide, hey, no harm, no foul, looks like just a simple drug overdose. Dave sees a few things and he's like, well, I think there might be more to this case. And so he starts asking some questions. When he's at the state penitentiary and this guy that's on death row and he's got nothing to gain, right? He's gonna die, and he gives Dave a warning about how he has a hit on his head because he's asking too many questions. Dave looks at this like a green light. So guess what? He's gonna keep asking questions. Of course he is. Now, in the course of Dave asking more and more questions, he starts rubbing shoulders with some pretty interesting guys. I mean, he's bumping arms with the mob, corrupt politicians, corrupt cops, revolutionaries running guns out of South America. I mean, this story has everything. So at this point, you might be asking yourself, who the heck is Dave Robicheaux anyways? Well, let me give you a little backstory about Dave. Davey Boy is a Vietnam veteran who is a recovering alcoholic, and he's trying his best to be a good cop. He is a smart cop in terms of his ability to solve crimes. I mean, this guy's pretty good. He's got a long list of people that he's put away for doing terrible, atrocious things, and overall, his reputation in the police department is a pretty legendary one. People think he's a really, really good cop. Okay, so now you know a little bit about the plot behind this book. You know a little bit about the main character, and now it's time for me to give you what I think about this book. Admittedly, I've never read a detective novel before. I had no idea that this specific detective novel genre even existed, this noir, nostalgic detective genre. No clue it was a thing. And so when I jumped into this book, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I'm going to break it up into two categories when I'm talking about my thoughts about this book, though, because I think there's two things that I kept thinking about while I was reading this book. Okay, thought one when I was reading this book, thought one is this: the writing is impeccable. James Lee Burke's prose and style, I mean, woo, this guy is good. The way he can describe an atmosphere or tone and setting in a room, in the environment outside, this guy's amazing. He can make you feel sweat on your brow when he's describing how hot the room is or how the sun is beating down on his face while he's outside in the swamps of New Orleans. Thought number two I had while I was reading this book: the characters are just a little shallow. That's my opinion. You could, don't crucify me for saying this, but I just thought, in terms of character development, it was pretty weak. All the characters felt like caricatures of archetypes I have seen in other mediums 1,000 times before. And this book was written in 1984, so it might just be the case that for the time, these were really fresh, interesting characters, but they just haven't aged well. That could be the case. But 1980 is not that long ago, and there was plenty of other stories written before this one. And so my knee-jerk is to say that, they're just kind of shallow characters. And there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, if the story is good and the writing is good, isn't that enough? Also, I mean, just to be fair to this book, I had just finished Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry, which is 900 pages of character development. And so, yeah, maybe I'm not comparing this against a book of its peers. Like maybe if I read another detective novel, I would be like, I stand corrected. Though that book was cheesy, this book is like next level for the genre. I just don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I should read more detective novels. The real question is, do I want to read more detective novels? Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't think so. I don't think I really want to read any more detective books, at least not for now. It doesn't seem like it's my genre. I wasn't super captivated while I was reading this. I wasn't, chomping at the bit to go read more. And so just using that as kind of a reference point, I probably won't read any more detective novels anytime soon. If you do like detective novels, if you like mystery, if you like trying to figure things out, James Lee Burke wrote like 20 of these Dave Robicheaux detective novels, and they're all different crimes from my understanding, and like each book is a different crime that Dave Robicheaux is setting out to solve. And like I said, the writing is great. The writing is great. The pacing is really fun. It was just specifically the character development that I had a problem with. Everything else about the book, I would say, is like a 10 out of 10. Really good writing, really good setting. There's not much more to say about it. Until next time, this has been Mark from Mark Reads Good. I'll miss you. I love you. You take care.